Welcome to Unity with Pam, with your host, Pam Willis-Hovey.
Hello and welcome back to Unity. We are here on location at Midas in Columbus, Georgia. You know we do our car care show every year. You love it. We're doing it again. I thought this year I had some new questions for Tony. I cannot get past Tony. But I'm telling you, he's the manager here. I'm glad to have him with me, and I want to go ahead and say, welcome to Unity.
Thank you, Pam. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We've got a car here now. I want y'all to listen up real good now. Bought a car, one owner. Supposedly it was owned by an older lady, 51,000 miles, 2002 Chevy Alero. We want to find out, is this true or false? Tony, when you checked it out, what did you see?
Car's in pretty good condition. I don't think that anybody was misled as far as the mileage goes. First and foremost, the new buyer should always check maintenance records. That's the first thing you should look at. Carfax reports, stuff like that. Upon looking on this car, everything checked out pretty well. So,
you showed us some things, and one of our other guests was like, wow, good tips. Give my viewers some tips of what you did to know this was true.
Sure thing. First thing we did was check the oil cap. We took it off and made sure it wasn't corroded, any film or anything on it. This has got a little bit, but as much as the car is sat, I would expect that. Next thing I checked was the oil dipstick. We want to make sure we didn't have any burn marks up the dipstick. That would indicate that oil changes were not being done in a timely manner. So both of those indicators there are the first things I look for in a used car and a used motor. But this one here, immaculate.
Immaculate. You also talked about, you said the battery looked good. How did you know the battery was good?
This is not the original battery that came with the vehicle.
Okay.
This is actually an aftermarket, bought probably from Interstate. Good battery, but the original one would say 8C Delco on it.
Oh, okay. And the fluids, how did you know they were good?
Everything checked out. Everything's level, so you just check them. Car is actually in really good shape. The tires were good. They got a little bit of age on them. By DOT numbers, they're put on the car probably 2009 into 2009 or beginning of 2010. The car is perfect. One
thing you said, you noticed that the car had been setting up. How did you know that?
Dry rot on the tires. That's an indication the car sits more than it's driven. The tires were put on in 2009, 2010. We're in 2016, and they still have very good tread. So the tread life is good on the tire as far as thickness of the tread, but they do have some dry rotting, which means it's just sitting in the sun.
Oh, wow.
Not driven, just sitting there.
One thing I noticed you said, this is something I would never know. Going back to the dipstick, and when you check the oil, you said a little burn. Mm-hmm. How can you tell when it's burnt? Because someone like me, I don't have knowledge of it.
When you pull the dipstick out,
yes,
like on this car here, you pull the dipstick out, and you can see where the oil is at. But up above it, as that dipstick sits in the tube, the oil still is going to splash up on it. If you do not do your oil changes 3,000 to 5,000 miles, that oil that's left up here cakes up and burns. Okay, it's just like a burned cookie seed.
So will it be black or?
It'll be a black, dark brown,
okay,
black color up here. Most people don't. You can't wipe it off because it's cooked to the metal, and that's how you know that the car hasn't had regular oil changes.
Okay, I hope y'all heard that because I did not know that. One thing you also said too, I would like to ask. You said the body looked good.
Yes, ma'am.
And one thing, we said them 51,000 miles. Something else you told us, even though it's digital. How do you know it hadn't been messed with?
Most digital dashes, if you take the dash out and try to roll the odometer back or change it, most manufacturers have built in a fail-safe where a small asterisk will come up on the odometer itself. That would tell you that somebody's been internally to the dash, has replaced it or messed with the odometer. Most places, including here, if we replace a dash unit, there's a certified sticker that comes with it that goes in the car with it to say, the dash has been replaced at this mileage, and that way you can add to it at that time. Your regular Ford Crown Vic style,
yes,
roll around, you know what I'm talking about, the older style, yes, odometers. If you roll them back, none of the numbers will line up ever again as soon as you touch it. So it will never be perfect. It'll always have one or two numbers off. That's how you can tell that the dash has been tampered with.
Wow. Now see, so it does not line up at all.
At all.
Ooh. And a digital one would come with a little asterisk.
Most manufacturers have a small asterisk so you can actually look at it and see, it's been tampered with.
So it'll pop up around the numbers, or?
Yes, ma'am. It's very evident.
Okay. Now see, now you're giving me something. I want to ask you another thing. When it comes to the braking system on this car, and you're how do you know that that's good, that's bad, or?
Well, I visually inspected the brakes when I had the car up on the rack.
Okay.
The brake pads all look brand new. Somebody has just serviced the brakes on this car. With the mileage that's on it, it probably wasn't very long ago. So if you're not having issues driving the car, there would be nothing wrong with it. So.
When would you recommend doing a brake job on this car? By being the age of it?
Well, that depends on the driver,
okay,
the previous owner, and the condition of the brake system itself. At this point, this car doesn't need any brake work. We do recommend that once a year you bring the car to Midas. We give a free brake inspection. We'd be glad to look at it. If you don't need anything, I'll be the first one to tell you don't need anything.
Now, when would you recommend the oil being changed, since this is a 2002?
Generally, I recommend most of my customers who purchase a used car, they start maintenance completely over because they don't know what the previous owner has done. This one here was no maintenance records whatsoever for the car. No sticker in the windshield, nothing in the glove box. So I would recommend that they bring the car in, have everything done, have the oil changed, tires rotated and balanced. That way they can start a basis for their factory schedule maintenance and keep the car as long as they can.
Well, Tony, I thank you. We're going to a commercial break. Then we're coming back with Carol Golden. She is the president of the art group, Disability. Let's hear what they have to say.
Unity with Pam is being brought to you by these great sponsors.
Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda, a new book by author Pam Willis-Hovey is now available. This story of a young Joanna and her journey of love will have you excited with the turn of every page. Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda is available for purchase through Amazon and at unitywithpam.org.
Come on in to Sugar's for a sweet taste of Southern cooking. You will be taken back to Sunday dinner at Grandma's house with every bite. Daily specials serving fried chicken, collards, black-eyed peas, also melt-in-your-mouth cornbread. You will want to ask for seconds. Also try one of our homemade desserts. You will be in sweet, sweet heaven. Sugar's offers catering for all your corporate, church, and family gatherings. They will do all the work and save you all the trouble. Sugar's, a taste of Southern cooking.
You do know the experts at Midas will tell you what needs fixing now and what can wait, right? Like, I don't know, brakes?
Of course I do.
Trust the Midas touch for brakes, tires, oil, everything.
I'm a fan of this plateau.
I'm a fan of things that go.
I'm a fan of all things kitschy.
I'm a fan of Lionel Richie.
Hello.
I'm a fan of DQ. I'm a fan of DQ Bakes.
Bakes.
DQ Bakes.
I'm a fan of warm ciabatta.
I'm a fan of cold and hotter.
Melty snacks on my snack break.
I'm a fan of DQ Bakes.
New artisan-style sandwiches, snack melts, and desserts. Hot out of the oven and only at your DQ. This is fan food, not fast food.
I'm a fan!
When your child is sick, you take them to the doctor, right? Well, at Zoe Pediatrics, we don't just take care of sick kids. We want to keep the healthy ones healthy.
At Zoe Pediatrics, we're in the business of prevention. We would love if when our children are 100 years old, they could say they were never sick a day in their life because of what they learned at Zoe Pediatrics.
Don't wait for sickness. Children don't have to be sick to get better. Good doctors treat illness. Really great doctors prevent disease. Zoe Pediatrics, 10th Avenue at 17th Street.
Come into Chester's Barbecue for our world-famous mouth-watering ribs, smoked fresh on our grill daily. Or try one of our barbecue pork plates with fresh sides. Chester's has delicious sandwich combos to choose from that are sure to please. We also serve tempting home-cooked favorites. And don't forget to take home your own bottle of great sauce. Chester's Barbecue, serving the best food at the best price, with 3 locations to serve you.
Welcome to Unity with Pam, with your host, Pam Willis-Hovey.
Hello and welcome back to Unity. I have a guest she's watching and she's going to find out some information about her car. She's Carol Golden. She is the president of the Art Disability Group, and I'm glad she's with us and allowing us to use her 2005 Lincoln. We got some oil change issue questions we're going to be asking Tony about her car. I want to say welcome to Unity.
How you doing, Pam?
You know, Ms. Carol asked some good questions when it comes to price points. She said, I never spent that kind of money for getting my oil changed. and not knowing what's recommended for the car?
Well, every car is different. Every manufacturer requires a different type of oil. This car here, you could use any type of conventional oil that you wanted. If the customer had over 75,000 and wanted high mileage oil, that's perfectly acceptable. I have a lot of customers that like to stick with straight synthetic, which is top of the line. Her car in particular is a Lincoln, built by the Ford Motor Company, and it does ask for a semi-synthetic blend oil, also 6 quarts. So it's going to make the price a little higher than normal, but it is what's recommended by the factory for that vehicle.
And you said it take, how many quarts does that car take?
Her car takes 6.
It takes 6 quarts. And you said it's a synthetic oil.
Semi-synthetic.
So she needs to change it every
5,000 miles.
Every 5,000 miles. Okay, so it takes a particular grade.
That's correct.
All right. Were there any other issues? Because I know y'all check everything out a little bit.
We noticed that the rear brakes, it is time for them to be replaced. So we're going to set up a time when it's convenient for her to bring it back for the free brake inspection, and then we'll look at the brakes and get her a price from there.
Okay. With the mileage on her car, how often do you recommend her to do her maintenance? Because you know, when they sell you a car, I bought a brand new car, there's always mileage and maintenance agreements and everything on it. So how often should she do it on her car, since she has a child that's disabled and needs to stay in tip-top shape?
Well, in her particular case, driving the vehicle as much as she does for her child, the best thing you can do is bring it to the shop and have just regular inspections done. When we do an oil change, we do a free courtesy inspection, check your belts, lights, hoses, and tires. We'll go through and do a visual brake inspection. That will indicate whether or not you need any maintenance at that time. We'll also look at the factory schedule maintenance at the mileage that car is at, and if there's anything that should be done, we're going to let the customer know and let them make a decision based on what we have found. So, best thing that anybody can do, and it's me, you, the cameraman, the mileage indicators. As far as factory schedule maintenance, 30, 60, 90, those are big services and they should be done at those mileages. And the lights that come on the dash, maintenance light, coolant light, keep an eye on those. If those come on, it's time to get something checked out.
You know, we were talking about this while we were off camera. And you have people like another gentleman, he couldn't make it because his car was in an accident. We had another car, so Miss Carol filled in for him. But he was quadriplegic.
Okay.
Wanting to know what are some things that he could do being quadriplegic.
Well, everybody's disability is not the same.
Okay.
It would be whatever he was comfortable with doing. Okay, so if he couldn't do anything, would get up under the car, fix on anything, work on anything, bring it to me. I'll be glad to look at it. The inspections are always free, barring diagnostics, of course. Once I look at it, we can set up a maintenance plan based on what's going on with the vehicle and go from there.
What if it's just simply, he says, you know, I may not have my legs, but Tony, I've got my arms.
Okay.
And I want to pop that hood. I want to try to check my car out like you did. Mm-hmm. What would be a way that he could do it?
Whatever is comfortable for him.
Okay.
Because everybody's different. You know, I couldn't tell him how to get out of the car and pop the hood. I could show him how to do this stuff.
Okay.
But he would, whatever is comfortable for that person, that individual. Because everybody's disabilities are not the same.
That's very true. I'm glad you talked about that. It makes me feel pretty good. And when you talked about her brakes too, this I want to know, because when people start dealing with braking issues, you need to ease somebody's mind when they first hearing something like that. Can she drive out? I know you said could set up a time, so it must not be that bad.
At this time, her brakes are low in the rear. She's not metal to metal, and it doesn't create a safety issue.
Okay.
We do need to get the tires off of it, do a complete evaluation, and let her make the decisions on what she wants to repair.
Okay. This is good, because I'm just like her. I take my car, because I know very little about it. So I take my car to someone, and I'm like, when you start asking me questions, I don't know how to answer them. So I'm hoping and praying that this has helped ease some comfort in her mind. So you talked about the oil change, you talked about her brakes. Was there anything else you might notice?
She had a drive belt that's had some cracks in it, which is the serpentine belt around the accessory pulleys. That is something that needs to be addressed also.
Now, for some of us who are not familiar with that serpentine, what is that?
That is the belt that goes from the crank to the AC, power steering, water pump if it's external. And the crank actually turns that belt and keeps everything on.
Okay.
And if that belt breaks, then you lose your power steering and alternator.
I've been there before then. And when you
it
say
happens, just man.
It happened to me on the highway, and so I had to wait a long time for a tow truck. Now, is Is it something that needs to be done right away?
The sooner the better, because you don't want something like that to break and then you end up stranded somewhere in your case.
Okay.
So.
Ooh. I'm glad she's here and she's giving me the green light. That's making her feel good. So that's something that needs to be done now.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Is there a time limit?
Unfortunately, I can't see into the future.
Oh,
if I could, I'd make a ton of money. But I can't do that. We can't tell when that belt's going to break. But I can see the wear indicators on it. The belt is cracked and it's starting to wear. It is time for replacement.
Well, Tony, we're going to a commercial break. Then we've got another question. I have never heard of flat spots in a tire. Who ever heard of that? Anyway, we're going to commercial break. Then we're coming back with Tony.
Unity with Pam is being brought to you by these great sponsors.
For over 25 years, the Bug Patrol at All Star Pest Control has protected thousands of families' homes from pests and rodents. Although most treatments have no odor and are environmentally friendly, our high-technology products and methods get absolute results.
And we guarantee it.
All Star Pest Control, over 25 years of guaranteed protection.
Come into Chester's Barbecue for our world-famous mouth-watering ribs, smoked fresh on our grill daily. Or try one of our barbecue pork plates with fresh sides. Chester's has delicious sandwich combos to choose from that are sure to please. We also serve tempting home-cooked favorites. And don't forget to take home your own bottle of great sauce. Chester's Barbecue, serving the best food at the best price, with 3 locations to serve you.
Hello, I'm Pastor Willis.
And I'm Co-Pastor Emma Willis.
And we welcome you to be a part of our ministry. We have a wonderful illustrated teaching and preaching we want to share with you. And also we sharing with you our dance ministry and also our choir and our outreach ministry. And we have a wonderful Sunday school. And we welcome you to come and be a part of this ministry. God bless you.
The average home has more than 5 devices connected to the internet. Is your internet strong enough to keep up? At WOW, we can boost your internet with speeds up to 110 megabits per second. So you can handle it all and then some. That's WOW, not what you'd expect from a cable company. Find your perfect speed at wowway.com.
Welcome to Unity with Pam, with your host, Pam Willis-Hovey.
Hello and welcome back to a special edition of Unity. We are here at Midas in Columbus, Georgia, and I've got Tony with me. But we've got a viewer question that was presented to us, and yes, Pam's got a cheat sheet. A gentleman he has a Toyota truck. It has 33,000 miles on a tire. Now, he's only had the tires, supposedly he bought them brand new, and the tires were 2 years old. Took it many places to get it lined up. Car would never line up. It would never balance. He said he had flat spots in a brand new tire. I thought I had my man Tony here on something new. Tony showed me, no, big girl, I got something for you. Tony, welcome. Tell my viewers that they never heard of flat spots. What is that?
Flat spots are an indication of some worn suspension or steering components.
Can you roll it out where they can see it a little better?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'll put it up here.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Well, this is actually a flat spotted tire, and you can see it's had some pretty bad damage to it. But you get flat spots from worn steering suspension components. Some could be bent, alignment's not being done at the proper time. Buying a used tire that's already flat spotted from another car and putting it on your car, and it just makes it worse. 9 times out of 10, it's a bad shock, and the alignment is not correct.
Now, he said he bought them, this was getting me. He said he bought them brand new, and they're supposed to have did all that stuff that you're talking about when he bought them. Okay. But by them to wear out in 2 years like that, so I don't want to call these people not truthful, and I'm not, but I'm kind of are. So it doesn't sound like they were very truthful in checking out his car.
Unfortunately, that's a big thing in this business.
To get it to that point for brand new tires.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that that happens. You got to check the invoice, see what was done on the car when the tires were purchased. Was the alignment performed? Was the suspension checked? But 2 years is a long time for anybody to drive a vehicle and not have something else done. Worn shock is the biggest culprit in something like this, not keeping the tire on the ground. And once you wear a radial tire in this fashion, it will continue to wear that way the whole time, even if you put a new shock on it. So I would check the maintenance records, look at the invoice, see what was done, and then contact the company and go from there.
When you said flat spots,
yes,
is that right through here or?
Yes, ma'am. I thought I had some chalk up here, but this is the flat spot here. So it's low here and then high, and then low and high, and you can see it all throughout the tire. Normally what happens is the shocker strut is weak, and as you drive down the road you hit a bump, and instead of that shocker strut keeping the tire on the ground and stopping the recoil bounce, it's doing this on the road. Now you might not be able to feel it right away, but over miles of driving it ends up flat spotting your tire, and you end up with something like this.
So it does it in certain spots?
All around the tire.
Abby.
In this one's case, we had a bad strut, and the alignment was not correct, and it wore the inside of the tire.
I think them folks just wanted him to buy some more tires. I'm just gonna get it out of my mouth, because I'm like, to spend $759, $400 you had to pay on a 2-year tire. I am not saying the name of these people, but if you're listening to my show, you need to call Judge Judy and go on her show and get you some money. It's some money back. Because I've never seen nothing like this.
Yeah. Regular maintenance would have stopped most of it.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, Tony, he's a man that's on top of his game, isn't he not? Anything that car needs, he's on top of it. So I'm gonna ask him to come to you.
That'd be great.
For a second opinion. Because when we call him, he's gonna be really unhappy. Which we're on a Christian show, we can't repeat what he would say. So, I mean, how often should we check our tires? So this, I'll tell you another thing he said. It was, the DOT date was on the tire, and I think he said it was, what, a year old when he got it? Or found out it was 2 years old when he got it? It was 2 years old when he got it. I'm having to talk to my business partner.
That's okay. All right. So your DOT numbers are on the side of the tire. The last 4 digits is the date. You can say 0816. It was built in the 8th week of 2016. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want to purchase tires that are over a year old to begin with. So if they could have had them in a warehouse and not paid attention to it and put them on his car by mistake. We're only human. Everybody makes mistakes. But you don't want to buy old rubber, okay? Because they sit there, they deteriorate over time, and then you could end up with issues like this just from an out-around tire. So pay attention to the DOT numbers. So it's right through. Show me where that. Absolutely. The full DOT number on this one is right here. It's there. Okay. And this one says 2313. That's 23rd week of 2013. That's when this tire was built. Okay. So it's already about 3 years old. Yes, okay, so as soon as you buy a tire or get ready to purchase, before you purchase it, you should check the DOT. Yeah, actually, look at the DOT numbers. Make sure that they're less than a year old. They haven't been sitting in a warehouse somewhere. They have to have time to build them, time to ship them, and they're going to sit before somebody purchases them. But you don't want to buy anything over a year. I don't hold tires for more than 6-7 months. So if you bought some tires that are like that, I go back to that tire manufacturer, the person you bought it from, and say, hey, this is not adding up. Okay, we're going to recap this from the beginning. First car was the 2002 Chevy Alera. Yes, ma'am. Would you buy it or not? This car is actually in really good shape. I would have already purchased it, absolutely. All right. The Lincoln had some issues. Yes, ma'am. Being a 2005, would you say it was well kept up, or? It was in good condition. Needed a few maintenance things. Those are things that happen every day. Brakes, drive belt, change oil. Okay. Those are things that can be easily taken care of, and the car maintained its safety and drivability. So the car was well kept? Absolutely. All right, so that makes her feel good. She can tell her husband the car was well kept. Yes, ma'am. And coming back to our third thing we're talking about is these tires. Recapping the tires, this is me not talking, this is Tony, I'm not a mechanic. I feel the person was gotten over on. Every situation is different. I wasn't there when the tires were purchased. I haven't seen the car. I can reevaluate it if you like and make some suggestions at that point. But a 2-year time span from the time he purchases the tires until all of a sudden we have to buy new ones, a lot of things can happen. So you got to look at the road wear, the alignments, has the tires been rotated and balanced? Is this a maintenance issue or is this a bad tire issue? Something we have to find out.
I'm gonna think it was a bad tire issue and some other stuff was going on. Tony, tell my viewers before we close this show out where they can find you, and then also I forgot to tell people, if you don't have the money, Midas has credit cards now.
Yes, ma'am, we do offer the Midas credit card. It offers 6 months interest deferred payments. If you're approved for it, you can pay for just about anything you get done on your car within that credit limit. You don't pay me anything out of pocket. The credit card company will just send you the bill. Makes it a lot easier for a major repair. You can find me here on Manchester Expressway. We have another store on 13th Street, corner of 13th and Veterans. Mike Brazier is the manager down there. We try and do the same job up here and down there. So either store, you're welcome to bring the car.
Give them the telephone number too, because they may just call you.
My phone number is 706-323-9634. Mike Brazier can be reached at 706-324-3671.
Tony, again, thank you so much for doing my show.
No problem.
And again, show love in the community.
Thank you for watching Unity with Pam. If you would like to be a sponsor, please contact us or visit unitywithpam.org.
Hello, I'm Pastor Willis.
And I'm co-pastor Emma Willis.
And we welcome you to be a part of our ministry. We have a wonderful, illustrated teaching and preaching we want to share with you. And also we sharing with you our dance ministry and also our choir and our outreach ministry. And we have a wonderful Sunday school. And we welcome you to come and be a part of this ministry. God bless you.
Come on in to Sugar's for a sweet taste of Southern cooking. You will be taken back to Sunday dinner at Grandma's house with every bite. Daily specials serving fried chicken, collards, black-eyed peas, also melt-in-your-mouth cornbread. You will want to ask for seconds. Also try one of our homemade desserts. You will be in sweet, sweet heaven. Sugar's offers catering for all your corporate, church, and family gatherings. They will do all the work and save you all the trouble. Sugar's, a taste of Southern cooking.
You do know the experts at Midas will tell you what needs fixing now and what can wait, right? Like, I don't know, brakes?
Of course I do.
Trust the Midas touch for brakes, tires, oil, everything.
I'm a fan of this plateau.
I'm a fan of things that go.
I'm a fan of all things kitschy.
I'm a fan of Lionel Richie.
Hello.
I'm a fan of DQ. I'm a fan of DQ bakes.
Bakes.
DQ Bakes.
I'm a fan of warm ciabatta.
I'm a fan of cold and hotter.
Melty snacks on my snack break.
I'm a fan of DQ Bakes.
New artisan-style sandwiches, snack melts, and desserts, hot out of the oven and only at your DQ. This is fan food, not fast.